And good evening, welcome to Sports Desk. I am Paul on the ball and happy to be here again, and I've got a really exciting guest for you this evening. His name is well known through the whole of the BVI. It's Steve Parolin, the great and famous Steve. Good evening, welcome to Sports Desk.
Good evening, Paul. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Steve. And of course, we are live this evening. You can call us on 300-1949 or send a text on the 300-1950. We'll continue to remind you also, of course, we are on the web. And it is www.jtvlive.net. That's www.jtvlive.net. On to Steve. And Steve, again, welcome here this evening. Let's get straight into the mix of things. We are live and we're really looking forward to getting your calls. Let's talk about basketball. I mean, Steve, it's no secret to anybody, your whole life has really been basketball. It's all been about basketball. Let's have a look first of all at the local scene and local basketball and get your impression of how you feel presently basketball is looking in the BVI from a local standpoint.
Well, I mean, I was playing in a local league for a long time, and so, it's always going to be natural to compare.
Yes.
And so looking back from the days when I started in the league compared to now, I think, there's been a big fall off in talent. The elite teams are now down to 3 when back in the days there was 8 or 10 elite teams in the league, which made it more competitive. So right now, as far as the competitive nature of the game, I think it have dropped.
Right. Obviously, that is it's a disturbing thought because obviously, as a nation, we want to be progressing all the time. Let's try and pinpoint that down, and because I'm a strong believer in constructive criticism, so we can move on and get to where we want to get to. Let's talk a bit, Steve, about some of the reasons why we think that is. What about things like this, the start of the league? I mean, we've been talking earlier. Do you think that the time of the year that the league starts is the best time of year? What is your feeling on that?
Well, the thing is that for years we've had numerous of college players that's played abroad. With those players coming in to play in the league, it will make the league more competitive. The thing is that those players only come for a certain amount of time. So I feel if we start the league a little earlier, by the time the players come, they will come into the mid-section of the league and through the whole playoff of the league. That way you have a more competitive league through the more front part of the league instead of the beginning of the league. And so I think that, bringing back the league to about April and having the championship early July right before the festival village,
right,
I think will make the league more excited and competitive.
I've heard this argument before. One of the challenges that was put to me was that it then clashes right with the softball league. And I very clearly remember there being a year where players were actually literally changing their clothes and running from a basketball game to a softball game and vice versa. I remember in particular Neville Smith having to pitch in a league game and then run across to play in a basketball game.
But let's be realistic now. I mean, we don't have those players anymore. We don't have the Shabba and the Sheeps and the Eddie and all those guys that was really good at all the different sports.
Right.
We have, one-dimensional basketball players now that plays basketball only. So I don't think that will be a problem now than it was then.
So are you saying that, from your estimation, that you think that we have diversified enough there, and I guess we're going to get into the youth program aspect of it, and if all the different associations are developing enough as it is, but you're suggesting that there are enough basketball players on their own to sustain basketball without having to worry about any other league.
Right.
Okay, that's interesting. So I think obviously that is something that we have to look at, we have to develop. Remember, we are live this evening. The number that you can call is 300-1949 if you're going to give us a call live and give us your view on basketball or what have you, or you're going to give us a text. It's 300-1950. We're also on the web. That's www.jtvlive.net. So Steve, we're talking about the local league. Let's have a look at one of my peeve things is the attendance. I mean, when I left, the complex was just going up, So my memory is of the old basketball court, and I remember that always being full. I came back to a game recently, and I mean, there was just a handful of people in there. I don't think it's like that all the time, but is there a problem with attendance, and if so, why?
Well, I mean, to me, the culture of the island have changed towards basketball. I mean, we can sit back and many of us have blamed the federation, but come on, we're in Tatola. I mean, we don't blame nothing else when they're having activities and it's well attended, because Tatola is very small.
Yes.
The league is held at the same time every year, so everybody know that the league is going on. They know the same top dog teams, Young Legs, East, and Megamix every year, and so I think it's the culture with the crime. I think crime plays a big part in this. A lot of people now just decide they're gonna stay home with flat screen TVs taking over and dish, and a lot of movies and all that stuff. I think that people just say they're gonna stay home. They're not coming to the games.
Okay, I think we have a caller coming in. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Sports Desk. I'm Paul on the ball. Go ahead, please.
Yes, this is Kenny Thomas.
Oh, Kenny, nice speaking to you this evening. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, I was just listening to you all, and I have a few words to say. Basketball has changed over the years. I stopped off and I watched a game the other day, and basketball is not the same no more. The players, them just running up and down the court like some crazy man. They're not playing fundamental basketball, and a lot of that has changed. And people don't want to come and watch that no more. What Steve is doing is correct. He's teaching some fundamentals. We have to bring fundamentals back into basketball in order to make it excited again.
Right. Okay, Funny, I think we're getting a little bit of a feedback there, so we're going to disconnect you. Please call back. Always remember, if you're calling live, you may want to just touch your volume down, otherwise we're going to be getting a dual feed from your television, and also, of course, from the phone. So just turn your volume down, but you're happy to call us. Please call back, Funny. Steve, we can talk a bit about Funny, about Kenny Thomas, better known to many of the guys as Funny. Of course, the league is named after him this year, so I don't think it would be a better person to call. And what Funny is really saying is that the games is different. No, kids are not playing fundamental basketball. They're running up and down the field. People don't want to see that anymore. Does he have a point?
He do. And to elaborate on that a little more, with the camps that we're running, a lot of kids, they don't want to come to the camps, because the first thing they say, oh, we playing games, and we don't play games in our camps, because you can't play a game if you don't have the skills. And a lot of kids, they don't want to come to the camp because of that. And it's the same thing that Funny said. Back in the days, you had all the older guys, teaching you all the fundamentals. I was very lucky to have played with Disciples and 88 and the older guys. Right.
I remember when 88 came out as a junior the first day with a little ball, and he was a little kid coming in. Right. And then we were schooling people from those days. We got a call coming. Let's take that caller. Good evening, Paul on the ball. This is Sports Desk. Go right ahead.
Yes, Paul. Kenny Thomas again.
Yeah, sorry, Kenny. We were getting a feedback there. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, and I say fundamental is missing in the game. Another thing that is missing in basketball is the discipline. A lot of the kids don't have that discipline, that desire, and that dedication to the sport. You understand?
Yes.
And when that is missing, it's going to destroy basketball.
Steve made mention about the crime affecting the youngsters. Is that all part of the whole discipline thing? And who do we blame for that?
Well, I would blame we, the bigger people, and the people who live in the Tortola, because the way we used to live, we live in no more. We have to have discipline. If you don't have discipline today, you're going to get problems.
Would you say that the way Steve is going is the way to go, and should there be more people taking a leaf out of Steve's book?
I was really impressed with Steve. I told him so already, because the way how Tortola is going, and he came home and he stood up to all of the people who were oppressing against him, and he's teaching fundamentals. Basketball needs fundamentals. It It needed.
Right. Steve, anything you wanted to
I just want to say, funny, I just want to say, you know, you were a player that I always looked up to, along with a lot of other players on the island. One thing that I find, though, is that, you know, when I was growing up, you know, I looked up to some of your fundamental players. And like now, with the younger kids, we don't have enough guys like, you know, yourself, 88, and some of the other fundamental guys helping out enough in the camps. Because I'm not going to lie, I mean, I struggled last season with books and basketball, you know, getting coaches to help me teach fundamentals. And I think that, you know, some of the older fundamental guys, I think they have shied away from basketball and not just coming to basketball, but actually helping teach basketball. And I think that's where the lack of fundamentals in the youths is occurring.
But Steve, I will tell you, anytime you need me to assist in any of your camps, you could always call me, and I will try to make myself available to give a hand there.
Right. Okay, thanks a lot, Kenny. Certainly appreciate your call, and great to hear you in good spirits.
Okay, you have a good evening, my brother.
Good.
Okay.
All right. I know when I saw Funny in the road the other day, Funny says, well, it's nice for people to recognize you while you're still alive. Right. And, you know, so we're going to Button Lane in the next league, Steve Powell in league. Well. But, yeah, in all seriousness, I think Funny is really hitting the nail on the head right there. And this is the challenge that we're having. And like you said, Steve, it's all about the older guys like Kenny Thomas coming on and giving yourself a hand because you're only one man. Right.
And, you know, it goes... Like I said, you know, it goes hand in hand. I'm not here to call out nobody, but, you know, I'm a straight-up dude. And I've said, example, Kid 88 Malone, one of the most well-rounded fundamental players to ever play here. Right. Coaches the national team, but to me, that's not enough. Right. To me, I need to see 88 in BD basketball. Right. I need to see 88 in camps. You know, to me, younger kids gonna look up to these guys like, oh, I have the national team coach here at Books and Basketball or here at BD Basketball. And that's going to actually have older, you know, younger guys like myself that are older to look up to 88 and say, you know, if he's doing this, I want to do this too. And then maybe some older guys from the old school might say that if 88 is doing this, then I might do it too.
So in other words, if I'm reading you right, what I'm really hearing you saying is that you want some of the big names in basketball, the guys from the older yesteryear who are still around, like Keith 88 Malone, to be focusing on youth development and youth basketball, because obviously the youth are the future. Right. The guys who, I mean, if we just focus on the Steve Powellans and that, you know, in another couple of years we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Exactly. You know, so that's what we're really looking at. So, you know, certainly we have probably pinpointed Keith 88 Malone, but, you know, there are a lot of guys like Keith, and again, Keith is easy to pinpoint because he's with the national team. He's probably one of the most successful guys ever. Keith has received awards, you know, worldwide that nobody else has achieved. So he is the #1 guy that you could pinpoint on, and it'll be nice to get guys like him coming down and working with the youth and developing youth basketball and working along with yourself, you know, and getting more things happening for young people. Right. Okay, great. Well, another thing that Kenny mentioned, and I just want to quickly touch on this, just get your views on it, is discipline. You know, how is the discipline when we go and watch basketball locally? Funny complain about the kids nowadays running up and down. Is it becoming harder and harder because of the plasma TVs and what have you, and all the different things to control and discipline the youngsters? Well, when Funny talk about discipline, and I think for the audience who don't really understand basketball, when you talk about discipline, you can talk about two things: your behavior or the structure of how you play basketball. Being disciplined in basketball, what Funny was talking about is coming down the floor and passing the ball, go set a screen, get somebody open, instead of coming on the floor and jacking up a shot, or coming on the floor, dribbling the ball 10 times and turn it over. When you have discipline, you're going to come down, you're going to say, hey, I'm going to work for somebody to get a shot. Hey, I got a mismatch with a big man and a small man. I'm going to get the ball to the wing so he can get the ball. Or, well, it's clever because the point guard has a mismatch. That's the discipline that Funny's talking about, that we need in basketball. And if you don't have the fundamentals in basketball, fundamental actually brings IQ. And if you have the IQ
It all goes in one, and it helps you to understand basketball.
But Steve, if I'm listening to you right again, what I'm really hearing you talking about now, that's a totally different thing. You're talking about coaching and the coaches level and knowledge of basketball. Because if we don't teach the kids how to play set basketball, I mean, you've played in Sheffield, which I hope you can talk about a bit in a minute, and some I've watched you play through the whole of Britain, and you went to Europe and all over, and then came back. You came on to Puerto Rico. You've been all over. You have learned how to play set basketball. How many coaches know as many set players as you? How many coaches are actually, when they go out on the field, teaching their players to play set basketball, and how many teams are actually doing that?
Well, the thing is that coaches that will come here, and because we don't have a lot of coaches here that's advanced to that level. And if a coach...
Why is that?
Well, because number one, we don't have, like, say for instance, I'm going to use 88 again, because he is the, the senior national team coach.
Right.
He's not a full-time basketball coach, which meaning that now, after the tournament, the CBC tournament, he's not going to coach again until the next national team tournament.
Right.
Where you go to tournaments and you're going to go up against coaches who coach in pro leagues, who coach in college, who coach even in local leagues, and so they're getting that everyday experience working with players and, coaching in games. So when they come to these tournaments, they're a little more prepared. Not saying 88 is a good coach for, his lack of, involvement in coaching. And if he was a full-time coach, then he would be, a great coach.
All right. Here's my question for you. And we can probably elaborate on this. How many coaches genuinely, let's not say NBA level, that's a little unfair, at college level or above, somewhere there, how many coaches can actually coach a Young Legs team or East, I was going to say East Rockers, I'm showing my age, team at that level, at a college level or above?
I'll be honest with you, there's no coach here that can coach on a college level. To me, coaching is more than just going out and making substitution. It's more than just, coming out and running a practice. It's game management, right. It's time management, it's the preparation, it's knowing the drills, how to get your team prepared, knowing what kind of team you're dealing with so you can prepare the right plays and the right game scheme to match your team. And, I think that was a problem that we had for years, that, we're a fast team. We
right.
have one really legit big man, which is Cleon.
Right.
And so, we sometimes, used to play that slow down basketball, which that don't benefit us. We're a Golden State, Phoenix Suns type of team. We got to go up and down and cause problems for team because we're very athletic and very quick.
Right.
And so a coach got to come in and say, you know what, this is the kind of team I'm working it. Fast, quick, get up and down the floor. Let me put in quick hitting plays for a team like that. And that's, all those things are things that I don't feel coaches here will look at.
Okay, we got a call coming in, and I want to stick on that on that thing. In fact, what we're going to do now, Steve, is we're going to take a break to thank our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to talk a bit more about the coaches, and let's get on to the overseas scene and relate the ability of the coaches to coach with what's happening overseas. And we also want to talk a bit about Steve Powell, the Sheffield Sharks. There was I wrote an article a few years ago when we spoke about, I said Steve scored 40 points and he cried. I think we're going to, when we come back,
left for the 40 points.
We'll talk about the second stage. This is sports. This I'm Paul the Ball. We'll be right back.
Hi, I am Tanisha Harrigan Scott, and I am here to bring you some exciting news from Digicel. Now you can talk more and text more for only $15. A great new price point from Digicel, the bigger, better network. Have you heard? When you top up $15 or more, you get incredible deals with Digicel. Get 100 free minutes, unlimited SMS, and free weekends for 7 days to local Digicel numbers. Top up $15 again, and it will automatically be extended for another 7 days. For more information, drop by our store or visit our website at www.digicelbbi.com. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
And welcome back. I'm Paul on the ball. Of course, things always heat up off the air, and Steve and I were chatting here. We are at Sports Desk, and we are talking about basketball, and we're really talking about sports. But of course, Steve Powland, having been involved in basketball for many years, we've really been looking tonight a bit about basketball as a whole. And when we left off, we were actually talking a bit about the coaching of basketball and the level of coaching here. We finished off with Steve with we were talking a bit about Keith 88 Malone, but off the air we kind of got into other topics, and there are other coaches who have been coaching for many years as well. The likes of Brian Bash Bruley and Maurice Watley. These are probably the two most famous coaches here. Are these guys at a level of college level or above? And if they aren't, why? Have there been opportunities to send them away? What is the situation there?
Well, let me first start on Brian Bash Bruley, which, you know, Bash is a very good motivational coach. I mean, he has that drive as a coach, which I think he can be a college level coach if he got the right training, or he went off to train to be a coach. But, you know, when you're just here on Tatola and you don't have, you know, the regular leagues going all year round to, you know, help your coaching skills, then it kind of hampers you.
Quick question there. Talking about looking at sports division and the sports department as the head of sports as a whole, would they be, obviously Patrick Harris and his crew, would they be somewhat responsible for saying, let's get a Brian Bash Bruley or Maurice Watley off to coach at a higher level? Well,
the thing is, like I say, it all comes back to this one thing. If you think of all our coaches, Keith 88 Malone, Brian Bruley, Maurice Watley, or some other coaches, they have their other jobs, which is priority for them and their families.
Yes.
So to say, you know, you're going to take somebody at this age with their family to send them off for training is going to be very hard. Now, what they can do is they can identify young coaches now that they can send off to be coaches. But the thing is that, you know, we all want to play until we're a certain age, so we're going to be being players. Like, I could probably go be a coach, which I want to be a coach, and I am going to go off and try to be a coach sometime.
Okay.
And, you know, I don't want to wait till I'm old, you know, to do that. I want to do that, you know, in the next coming years. So, because one day I do want to be the coach of the national team, because there's so many things in my head, you know, as a player that I want to see. Because I mean, I'm not going to brag, but when it comes to basketball here on this island, nobody have seen it like I have. I mean, I've played for, you know, coaches that coach in the NBA, in Argentina, national team coach. I've played for him in Puerto Rico, and I've played for a lot of high-level coaches. I've seen a lot of things, and I have very good memory. And so when I come here and, you know, I see certain things that the coaches are doing. I see things that I can actually do as a coach. If I was a coach, that can help the national team more than a player.
So we are in a situation now where we need to start having a program, or I should ask, is there a program in place where we're looking at drafting in or put younger coaches to the BVI?
Well, there was a FIBA center coach here last year. He did a couple coaching clinics. That's for beginner stage coaches. They had a good turnout, but like I said, it all comes back to the coaches that was interested, the coaches that have other priorities.
Yes.
You know, there's no leagues here where a coach can actually take coaching serious and coach all year round.
So that coach would actually have to maybe go and play in the Puerto Rican League or something like that?
Go probably be a third string assistant coach in a pro league somewhere where you can easily get that. You know, learn, make your way up the ladder, coach maybe, you know, a couple of years in the pro leagues. And then, you know, you come back with a resume and with a lot of information that you will learn coaching under the head coaches.
Who would finance that, Steve? Whose responsibility is it to take a young soldier and say, listen, okay, we don't want you to we don't want to make an NBA player. We are grafting you as a national BVI coach?
Well, it's not even coaching alone. I think that has to be done with refereeing too. I think that I think it's the federation. The federation has to identify younger people who they feel that can make good referees and good coaches and put them in programs so they can come back and help the BVI, you know, go to another level.
But is there money in the kitty for that sort of thing? I mean, we were talking about the levels of basketball, the attendance. Funny was talking about the lack of discipline. Is the Basketball Association bringing in enough revenue to be able to afford to begin to focus on coaches, you know, and no referees, which is a whole new ball game that you bring up there?
They don't. The federation, I don't think they have the money, but I think that you can write to FIBA, you know, expressing your concerns and letting them know, hey, you know, we have coaches that we would like to develop, and we have referees that we would like to develop, and I think that FIBA will respond to that.
Okay. You touched on something else there which I want to elaborate on as well, Steve, before we go into the overseas athletes a bit. Referees, what would you, in your estimation, say the level of refereeing in the BVI across the board is now? Is it any better in Virgin Gorda to here, or is it the same? And how much more do we need to go?
The referee is even on a lower level than coaching.
Is that so?
Yes, and you know what? People don't understand, referee plays a big part in development of basketball. Because, you know, if you have a referee that is calling the game a particular way, then all of a sudden the players, you know, come into a culture now where they're playing the game based on how the referee is calling the game.
Right.
You know, again, I have to bring in my experience. Playing abroad, the game of basketball, FIBA basketball, is a physical type of basketball, very physical.
Yes.
And I could tell you straight hand, when we started going to these bigger competitions,
right,
I saw, you know, some of the guys that play here were struggling because the physicality of the game and the referees were allowing certain things. They would not let that happen here in this league. Okay,
we have a call coming in. Just watch your, if you could just touch on your volume by the television, please, caller. Good evening. Thanks for calling Sports Desk. I'm Paul on the ball. You're here with Paul and Steve Powland. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I just sent in a text. I'd like you to read it.
Just a little louder, caller. We're not hearing you at all.
I just sent the text and I would like you to read it.
Yes, we actually did see the text. I was just about to refer to that text. You've asked us to speak about Steve Powland's program. It is actually, I was just about to make the point that it's actually the next thing that we're going to talk about. Well, the next thing after the next thing. So thank you for calling. Good. Yeah. Thanks for that caller.
That caller sounds very sick.
That caller isn't very well. But we did get the text from that call, and he wants to hear about the overseas program. We're going to talk about that in a little while. But we just want to round off on the point about refereeing, because that's important. If we are saying that refereeing is at a lower level than coaching and coaches, that very much, Steve, reflects on the level that basketball is at in the BVI, because if the referees are not calling calls that they're supposed to be calling, that's really going to affect basketball in a big way.
It is, and like I said, one of the big things is the physicality of the game.
Right.
If you go to basketball on a regular basis and you saw guys like Kit Warner-Reimer, who comes from St. Thomas, or Jason Edwin or Randy George, you will see a lot of times they're sitting on the bench. I had that problem too coming from overseas. I'm on the bench because I'm accustomed of hitting somebody with my forearm when they're running across the key.
Right.
Okay? And so when I do that here in the league, it's a foul.
Right.
If you know, and you could get up on somebody on the wing, and the basketball is physical in the FIBA.
Correct.
And so when you're here in the local league and you're playing that soft game, when you go to these tournaments, it's hard to adjust.
Right.
And so I think that if we're going to be a FIBA, if we're going to follow FIBA rules and regulations, that we need to play the game the way FIBA plays it.
Right.
And that's physical.
Right. So, I mean, there are a lot of things coming up here now, I mean, as we speak. And that takes my mind to the Caribbean Championships, basketball championships, which were just played recently. We've actually regressed. We've actually gotten worse in the last 4 years in basketball as far as our results are concerned. We were in the finals against Jamaica, and then not the most recent one that was run a couple of weeks ago, but 2 years ago. And now 2 years later, we actually got knocked out in the semi-finals to the same Jamaica again, isn't it? Or is it to the Virgin Islands? Jamaica again. So we have actually gotten knocked out in the semi-finals this time. Is that a reflection of what's happening locally with the coaches not being at a high enough level, with the referees not making the calls that you're talking about?
Well, not necessarily in this situation. I mean, we had a situation where we had some players that could have really helped us. That there was some technical issues with FIBA that they couldn't play, and I don't really think we have regrets, because I think over the last couple of years the federation have tried their best to bring coaches in to help the coaches that we had. We had a coach Mike that came in from Delaware. He helped out the coach 88,
right?
And I think that if we had our players, we probably would have won this CBC tournament.
Okay.
So I don't think we have regrets. We played in the bronze medal game, we lost, but I mean, if anyone saw the game against U.S. Virgin Islands,
right,
we basically led the whole game except for the last minute where a veteran, made 2 big shots.
Okay. Their veteran made
their veteran.
I thought you were going to say one of our veterans missed 2 big shots.
Well, one of our veterans missed 1 big shot against Jamaica.
Who was that?
Well, they said Jamaica got cross on me, so
Jamaica got cross on you.
I guess so.
All right. I mean, let's look at some of the players before we get to that text we got from that caller there. If we look at professional players who have come to the BVI, we're talking about yourself, Steve Powell, we have Jamil Haywood, we have Jason Edwin, we have Cleon Penn, we have Randy Chino George. All have played professionally. Then at the next level, if you look at guys who have played college basketball, we have Trevon Lewis, Kennedy Bass, Trevon Cameron, or Javon Cameron, I was getting mixed up, Avery Percival Jr., Kobo Penn, and of course J.R. Halstead, who is actually now in your junior program, which I want to come into in a minute. What's the progression we're seeing here with the youngsters coming up and getting to that level? And is there continuity, or is this discipline factor coming into these youngsters coming in that are there today?
Well, I would say it all comes down to recruitment, because we have a lot of talented guys here. But if you were a talented guy, Paul, and you felt like you could have played on a college, you could play on a college level, where would you see that window of opportunity for you to actually get to America to play? Because if you're in high school, there's no high school basketball leagues here. If you're out of school, there's no per se, good amateur league here that coaches come down and scout from. So you're actually trapped saying, you know what, does it make sense that I really try to progress in basketball? So now through our program, we have created the Virgin Islands Showcase Camp, which we had earlier in the year in April.
Right.
And now we have a new program that's starting called the Future Star Program, which is going to help young men to better the skills. Those who don't have education, help them to get back into school or to get a GED and put them on the right track. Give them, something to look forward to. Let them know, hey, these guys going to bring coaches in next year. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to get better. I'm going to get stronger. And next year, Virgin Islands Showcase Camp, we're hoping to have about 10 coaches come into the territory and recruit players.
Okay, for those of you who are listening live, this is jtvlive.net. You can find us on the web. That's www.jtvlive.net. You can also call us 300-1950 or send us a text at 300-19. Did I get it right? 1949. I actually mixed it up. So it's live. It's 1949. You can send a text at 1950. We're going to take a pause for a cause. When we come back, Steve, we want to talk a bit about Summer Jam with Trevor West Stevens. Big him up a bit. A lot of stuff happening over there in Virgin Gorda right now. Trevor's been doing a great job. So we're going to take a pause for a call. So stick and stay with us. This is Sports I'm Paul on the Ball. We'll be right back.
Hi, I am Tahisha Harrigan Scott, and I am here to bring you some exciting news from Digicel. Now you can talk more and text more for only $15. A great new price point from Digicel, the bigger, better network. Have you heard? When you top up $15 or more, you get incredible deals with Digicel. Get 100 free minutes, unlimited SMS, and free weekends for 7 days to local digital numbers. Top up $15 again, and it will automatically be extended for another 7 days. For more information, drop by our store or visit our website at www.digicelbbi.com. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
And welcome back to Sports Desk. I am Paul on the ball, and here this evening we're talking basketball. My guest this evening is Steve Parolin, who of course is probably the most glorified, if you can call it that, basketballer in the BVI, probably the most successful, and the only person who's played basketball longer than him for the BVI, I would say, would be Jamil Haywood. So we're talking basketball, and we were just about to talk about Summer Jam. And you know, Virgin Gorda, Steve, has been you know, they've started with a bang this year again. And I just want to talk a bit about Steve, about Trevor West Stevens and what they've done with Summer Jam. I mean, to me, they've done a tremendous job.
Right. I played in Summer Jam, you know, I'm going to admit, a very excited league. And the thing is with Summer Jam is they're very consistent.
Right.
People like consistency. They say, you know, this league is run a certain way, is excited, I'm coming back next year. And, you know, it has the outdoor feeling, like back in the days, like you was referring to earlier, how basketball used to be on another level. And you can probably admit that the outdoor basketball culture here was better than the indoor culture.
Right.
And so, you know, I think people over there, you know, they support the league. Virgin Gorda people, to me, are better basketball fans than Tatola people. And, you know, they support the league. And that's why they have a successful league. I feel if Virgin Gorda gets a gym, I think the league is going to go off the chain. I personally feel that way.
You think they'll even have bigger crowds?
That's when I would play in Summer Jam again. I can't do the outdoors anymore. I can't do it anymore. You know, a lot of mileage. So,
but that's a surprising comment you made, because we've got an outdoor gym and our basketball has not increased. But you're saying if Virgin Gorda was to get an indoor gym, you think that their basketball would just explode and go crazy?
Well, you know, like I say, to me, when it comes to doing anything with basketball, your pride and your passion has to be in basketball.
So why is it that Virgin Gorda basketball is apparently more successful than BVI basketball? Why are they doing better in the league? And they're actually getting better results than we are in our local league. From what I can see, they're winning a lot of our time. They're bringing teams over here and doing extremely well.
And I'm going to repeat myself again. When involvement in basketball, you have to have the pride and the passion that makes you want to go home, sleep basketball, think basketball, want to make basketball better. And, you know, just don't talk it, do it. Wes, being involved in basketball, played on the national level, he's bringing that same passion that he used to play with into the game. And, you know, I think that if you're going to be a president or of any basketball or any, you know, foundation or organization, you have to have that passion, that drive, you know. Think with the Hoop It Up Foundation, I don't sleep. I mean, you know, my president, Cal Dubscall, he asks me every day, what's new on the agenda?
Okay, before we go to Hoop It Up, I want to throw a fork in the wheel here and ask you, what about, let's say we're talking about hyping up and getting the BVI league bigger and better and getting more things happening. What about having an over 40 league? We're talking about all the older guys that are out there, what have you. What about having an over 40s league here in Tortola?
Well, if MB wants to make money, like bringing in extra bingy and stuff like that, you know, maybe we could have the
I think we got a caller coming through. We'll take that call. Good evening, this is Sports Desk. I am Paul on the ball. You're here with Steve Parolin. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
I don't say observing your show, right? Your show is nice, you know what I mean? But I feel that the rest people need to call on, you know what I mean? Hello?
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
I said, I hear listen to the show for the last couple nights and so, right?
Yes.
Wait a minute, please.
Yes, we're getting the feedback from you.
I really get that.
Okay, we'll wait for that call to come back. He's just going to turn his television down, Steve. But it sounds like a very important point being made here, and I think he's getting back to some of the things that we were saying. Are you there, caller?
Yeah, right there.
Go right ahead.
What I was saying, right, that I like how you show, right? right?
Yes.
TV still on.
Yes. You probably take it off for a little while and then bring it back on afterwards. Right.
I'm back there.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I say, I like how you show, right? I like to listen to talk show and so on. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But the people, I got same tone, man.
Okay.
Right? I got same tone, man. But I walk here. You understand?
Yes, sir.
I like how you show. But I feel the people who live there need to call and, you know what I mean, just stop playing and calling, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You check what I'm saying?
I understand you fully, and I think Steve and I support you 110%.
110%.
Because we're talking about. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
The people, if you want the kids them to do right?
Yes.
You need to have more like recreation for kids. Then. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You need to have like school play school, whatever the case is, ball or. And I mean, make the kids them feel a little live up, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's all I really care for, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But the people who have kids going to school and so you need to support it. You need to support it, your own and support yourself, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
100%. We're hearing you loud and clear.
Because you don't really need no people from outside to come in the BBI too. There are people here who could do it too. You know what I mean? But they just need help.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But I ain't hold on, let's keep on watching your show.
Okay, appreciate
it. Like on calling, you know what I mean?
Appreciate that. Thanks for calling.
All right, my brother.
Okay. Steve, a very important call, and that takes us back to where we were before. You know, but what we are doing here is talking about, you know, local basketball at the end of the day, and it getting better, because if basketball is better, if more youngsters are playing basketball, there'll be less crime out there.
Right.
I mean, 99% of the crime in any community is the youngsters.
Right.
It's the ones who have nothing else to do. So you know, that is call. Okay, we have another caller coming on. Okay, there we go. Let's take this caller. Yes, good evening. You're listening to Sports Desk. I'm Paul on the ball along here with Steve Powell. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Paul on the bar. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, Paul. I was a big fan of yours from ever way back.
Thank you.
Steve Powell, I'm a fan of yours too. You're my boy. You and Chino, England together. You're my boy. Couple things why I would say watching our league going on so good. Because one, West have a C division. This is the first ever place ever had a C division, giving the youths them a chance and emphasizing it that it's not about winning, it's about guiding the youth and bringing them up better, you check?
Yes.
And the fans and the parents coming out for that. Not have tonight, okay, Paul, tonight, East Rockers and Young Legs playing. Not have everybody come out tonight for what? Can't take a lose, who win, celebrate. Our pair is, Virgin is different. West have a policy in the league, in VG, lose or win, you line up, you match, you shake each other's hand. You have to take it step by step, and you have to take everything serious. Ain't all about winning in every game. Yes, we want to win, but if you go out and show that they're just about winning, you can just keep hold after that. That wasn't out of last night. I wasn't out of last night, right? Wednesday night game, and my boy for Saturday night game, Saturday had way more people, and Wednesday night game in Virginia.
Wow.
I tell you, I look like a championship game on a Wednesday night in Virginia. There's a lot of discipline in West trying to put forward in the league. There's a lot of this. You need to start that down here for we, so our league could improve. Now right now our league ain't improving.
Right.
Our league is not improving.
Yes.
Okay? when you come Wajingara, and when you go Wajingara, I know you're going to go Wajingara weekend, pal.
That's correct.
Don't tell you about the bad game then.
That's correct.
Right? And you're going to see the kind of discipline. You're going to see the fans, the parents, out there watching them child. We don't have that at all. We don't have that at all. The parents will be home, and at the minute them here, they try to get something on the court, then them running come in. But wasn't out of the parents right there watching them children play, cheering them children on. The child miss a basket, the parents on the side, don't worry baby, good luck next time. That's what we need in basketball. You check? And
Yes.
BG doing a hell of a job. West doing a hell of a job.
Yes.
You going up Saturday, pal?
I am,
We
yes.
coming up too.
Okay.
And we going to see what's going on.
I'll be there. I'll be there Saturday night for sure. You know I won't miss that for the world.
Okay, love your show, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate the call. Well, Steve, I think that caller really put what we've been trying to say all night in perspective. I feel humbled.
That's a fan of basketball.
That's a true fan of
That's
basketball.
a true fan of basketball. And you know what the caller before that was saying too, you know, is that people don't call into the shows and support the show and show their interest. It's the same thing that we have here in the local league. People are not showing the interest in basketball. This guy, he's a fan of, you know, Virgin Garda basketball. You see, he's calling in on the show.
Right. We have another caller coming through. Good evening. You're listening to Sports Desk. I'm Paul the Ball along with Steve Parlin. We're talking basketball. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good night, Paul. Good night, Steve.
Good night. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, in reference to what the last caller said, the smaller the country is, the more unity you have. And Virgin Garda have more unity than us. You see? In terms of the sports, basketball, when you see Virgin Garda player come down here, those young men, they're very disciplined. I watch them play game, and it doesn't seem like West have any problem with them.
Right. So
you see, so they're legal to that kind of level, like Steve said, discipline carries a long way.
yes.
You know? But in reference to what Steve said, bringing the basketball level higher, it is a whole package. The player, them like now you have players going in high school in the States, you might have one or two in college, and yes, the competition will be a lot better, getting the referee them into program to help them improve, the coaches, it's a whole package.
Yes.
You see, so where do we go to get this initiative to help? What do you suggest?
Yes. Well, obviously, I mean, I have a lot of suggestions, but I'm trying to get the public suggestion tonight. I think we can do another program with me. I mean, I obviously have ideas that I think I personally feel will work. I think we need to become more disciplined, a bit more strict. We need to reward coaches that are achieving, rather than rewarding coaches that are doing nothing. You know, when a coach achieves, and I think if a coach is going to coach a national team, or if he's coaching at the highest level, he must also be working with the youngsters, because the youngsters are the future. It's a lot of things that we need to develop and work within the BVI. But it's all about you guys tonight and telling us what you think, so we can put it all together. Because at the end of the day, we don't just want to talk about it. We want to start now, because as you said, we're a small community. We want to start now, not just talking about it on television, but physically becoming part of these associations, working along with them, and getting things happening, because talk is cheap at the end of the day.
Yeah, keeping seminar and using sports affair, government play a role. We have to take it serious, but in the right steps. And the individual, the players, they need to be more ambitious, because individuals play a big role in anything. You have to tell yourself, I got to play a bigger role to help this here, and they need to do that too. You see, even if Steve, I have an import, or other people have import government, those players need to tell themselves, I have to step it up.
Yes.
You see, it's a whole package.
It is.
Yeah, because we're going away all the time, national team, and we just come to the brink. Something is wrong.
Yes, absolutely. Something is definitely wrong.
Something is wrong. It's not just that it happens so that we lost to so there's something wrong.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because look at the U.S. Virgin Islands. they make up their mind to go to the last league and they tell themselves, I'm going in there to win because they are more prepared than us, fundamental mechanics, coaching to another level, this and that. We need some help, but sometimes we need to tell ourselves so. And it doesn't seem that even if we say it, we don't really think that we need additional help.
Yes.
It's a lot of things. I could talk all night, but
we need to get her. We need to get her on the show.
Yeah, you're doing a good job of saying we were enjoying listening to you.
I don't even know who it is.
We both know who it is. We both know who it is.
Yeah, so that's my input. When I meet you, I could even elaborate.
Yeah, we meet you at the bank.
Yes. On Main Street somewhere.
Okay, thanks for calling.
All right.
Good.
Okay, that's what I have to say for now.
Appreciate that.
All right,
good,
thanks.
Good.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Okay, you're listening to Sports Desk. I'm Paul on the ball. Of course, you can call us on 300-1949 or send us a text on 300-1950. That's 1949 to call us, 1950 to send a text. We're also in the World Wide Web. Did I get that right, Steve? That's www.jtvlive.net. And if you're listening live, good evening to you. We were kind of a little naughty. Let's see if we didn't say good evening to our overseas listeners on the Wide Web.
I think we had an overseas caller too.
I think we did. We certainly did.
I know the voice is probably from DC too. That guy is from DC.
Right. So if you're listening in the USA, in the UK, as I used to do it a few years ago in the cold, and I'm not doing it again. But Steve, we know that's like. We both did that. I mean, I used to travel to Sheffield to actually watch you play, and in fact, I don't want to go into Sheffield yet. We have a caller coming. Let's take the call before we divert. Good evening. I'm listening to Sports Desk. I'm Paul on the ball.
I'm back again. The good thing that people just calling just know cars like I tell you, I'm watching a show for these past nights, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's good for the people that calling and so the check out playing.
Yes.
Well, the sport is for us. I mean, that's just us outsiders alone. You check what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, kind of like not you, but the Claire brother.
Yes.
The boy that was talking about me just now, right?
Right.
Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Everybody else needs to just stop watching the show and be sleeping. Just calling, I just see the last couple nights. You just the two of you alone talking and nobody ain't calling in.
Right.
You need to call in and express yourself and stop sleeping and just sitting and watching two of you talk and nobody ain't saying nothing. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to listen to the next caller.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you know, it's funny. Before the next caller comes in, Steve, what this gentleman is saying is very true, because this is what's causing the crime. When we sit back and watch things happen and then we complain behind the back, but we aren't doing anything to help the youngsters, we're not finding things for them to do. And the caller from Virgin Gorda, or who spoke over Virgin Gorda, hit the nail on the head when they said that in a Virgin Gorda, the parents are going and watching the children play and saying, don't worry, baby, don't worry about that shot, you miss that one, you'll be there for the next one. And they're giving the support. I saw Gloria and Gloria's son, who is now gone on, but I remember for years, Gloria's never missed a game.
Right.
She's always been there, so the caller is not just making it up. It's very, very true that the VG parents, and that's where it comes down to, Steve. Are the parents coming and dropping off the children at your hoops, or are they coming and hanging on there? Are they coming to watch the children play, or are they just leaving them? Are they coming to the league games? When it was outdoors in Tortola, we used to get a lot more mothers and children and families coming to the games. Well, what's happened?
Okay, I want to touch back on Gloria. And I'll say one thing, man, that's one mother that I really admire, because Lemanuel, one of the guys that we actually sent away, he was coming to my camps from time he was a little boy.
Right.
His mom made sure that she put him on the boat to come to Tortola, to come to the camps. And, when I had him to go away, some things didn't, work out for him. And I just couldn't let him fail. I actually went and called a whole bunch of other schools to make sure that I got him up there. Because, I don't forget, things like that. A young boy really wants to go away, being under the system for a long time. Something, they didn't fall through.
Yep.
And, I didn't want to disappoint him.
No.
So I said, you know what, man, something got to happen. And through my connections, I called several coaches, you know, and got him up there, and he's up there now, and I'm really proud of him, man.
But you know, funny you should say that, and I remember very similar with Elvis Jugget Harrigan. I mean, the early days of basketball, it was Juggy who used to fight and get, if you remember, I mean, I'm not talking politics here, people. I'm talking about the way Juggy used to get out there and fight to get youngsters up to the stage, and it was a Juggy show, and he used to come to me complaining, and all, just him alone, and you know, and then as you're saying, and the parents are there crying about it, and Juggy saying, "Don't worry, we're gonna find a way," because you know, you could see the child needs help and the parents need help, but you know, when you have the parents and the children together working as a team, it makes the job easier for somebody like Juggy or whoever to get the people playing. No, you are the modern day Juggy, really. Let's be honest.
Well, you know, it all comes down to this, man. The parents have to care what the kids care about. Okay, the parents can't care what they care about.
Right.
And that's the problem these days. If a parent care about what their kids care about, they're gonna put the interest and the effort into seeing what the kids are doing. Yes, it is true. Some parents actually don't even come to the books in basketball to see what's going on, and some parents do.
Right.
And to me, it comes down to the individual, and it comes down to the household.
Okay, we had a text just coming out, and the question for the text was: is basketball presently a sport, a professional sport, or is it just a recreation? So I'm going to put a question to you, Steve. Maybe we could both try and tackle it. Is basketball here in the B very presently? Again, it's a caller that's just texted in. Is it a sport, or are people just playing basketball for recreation?
I personally think the local league has become a recreational league. For one reason, skill levels are down. To me, people are only coming now for the conditioning part of the league. You know, just coming to play basketball, run up and down the floor, like Funny say, not really learning, and you can't really see the game progressing. The teams that are gonna always win the leagues are the teams that have the national players and the overseas players and the college players.
Would you say Virgin Gorda is also a recreational league, or are they headed more towards a more serious league than us?
No, it's a more serious league because, like the caller said, you have a C league, right? So you're actually bringing kids from the C league, then to the B league, from the B league, then to the A league. I can remember, you know, some players that was in the C league. Lemanuel, I remember when Lemanuel was in the C league, that he couldn't bring the basketball up and on the floor. Now he's in college. Right. So, you know, they actually have a program that goes through different stages. We don't have that here. You play in a B league, then you go to intermediate. Intermediate is then what? That league doesn't do nothing for a player. You go to the A league, the competition is within 3 teams, which is a three-team league, and that's it. We're over here. Okay,
we're still on to Texas. Another text just came in, and they said here, until we bring back village competition, players need to stay in their village. If my team is not made up of guys from my area, who I know, what village pride would I have? In the past, that was a norm. Therefore, the game was more jam-packed. What do you think of that? I mean, well, back to village basketball.
It'll come down to this basically. I would say mega mix. The majority of the players on mega mix, they're from King Academy on the west side. The majority of the players from Young Legs is from Hamptons Lower State. The majority of the East players is from the east side. So I would say those top 3 teams. You know, what I would like to see is that Virgin Gorda bring back the Mystics. I can understand Randy Chino George and the Glove and Trevor West Steven. They was hungry for a Tatola championship.
Right.
So they went and joined the mighty Young Legs.
Right.
And they got a ring.
Right.
Which is okay. I congratulate Glove on the ring. I was in America when they won the ring.
Yes.
You know, my mega mix team was unable to defend, you know, choose, you know, certain situations.
Right.
Right. But to me, now you have the ring.
Right.
Go back, bring your Virgin Gorda team. People are bragging on your league.
Right.
Bring the best of Virgin Gorda.
Right.
Show the development of your league.
Yes.
Come over to this league here and prove yourself. You know, Mystic had a good team in the league.
Right.
like us, the mighty young legs took them down back in the days.
Of course.
And so don't give up.
Totally unbiased.
Yeah, totally, and don't give up. Keep coming.
But even let's say, I mean, it's a good point. Obviously, you're using one scenario there.
Right.
But let's talk about Eastern, Western.
Yes.
Andrew had the
guns,
Western, the guns there from the West. We need a lot more of that village thing coming back. Through all the villages, and that's gonna mean more courts, more basketball being played.
Well, I was listening to the show, one of the shows a couple of weeks ago, and Yellow was actually saying, who's going to be the next Steve Parron? Who's going to be the next Kennedy Bass?
Right.
Who's going to be the next Jason Edwin? And if you look around, it's hard to see that. The reason why is because when we was in our prime, who was running programs such as BD basketball or boxing basketball or training to bring these players that would have been now in their prime and taking the league to a next level?
Okay, good point. Let's hold on that for a second. If you've got the television on, just lower the volume for us. Good evening. This is Sports Desk. I'm Paul on the ball. Along with us is Steve
I call him back.
Go ahead.
Steve, just valid point right there about the Bodingana players. They did not get a ring by bring down their team down here, but they joined a team in Catola.
Right.
They now won the championship with the young legs. So go back and reinforce your team and enter the league down here now. And so that to say this, that the East team, when they had J.R. Arnold by from King Ganley side,
yes,
and they winning those championship, when those by after the 1-3 championship, they decide to go back to King Ganley and make their own team.
And won a championship.
Well, what each other done to match up with that, go and get some, recruit some good players to challenge them, but they failed to do it.
Right.
And that's what he just said, but it wasn't going to think like that and make basketball a lot better, more competitive.
Yes.
You see? Take it to the other level, challenge the team and do what you have to do. But he's refused to do that. Or the initiative to go and do something like that.
Right.
That's what he just said about Bozingara. I love to see Bozingara team in the all league.
Yep.
Yes.
I love to see them.
Yes.
Even
You see them make it better.
That's correct.
Yeah, so that's my point on that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well,
Bye-bye.
well, since that young man called and inspired our callers, it's been going on. A quick, we had a text coming in here. They're asking about the age of the BD league. They want to know about, you mentioned that other league. They want to know what age group are you referring to?
With the camps,
yes.
All camps run 5 to 16. And it's development, it's a development camp, which, I don't want to touch base on the camp before we get off the show, because, it's very important that, people know that there's something going on for kids to actually develop their basketball skills, because they are going to come back to this. We're going to spend our show on the bigger people in the league, the local league, and then now we're forgetting the youths again.
The specific question was what age groups for DB? And I'm trying to figure out when he referred to DB. I don't know, maybe the caller could call in quickly.
BD.
Or maybe
maybe they say BD. Maybe BD.
Maybe it means BD. But he has DB here.
Right.
So maybe there's a typo in that. But I guess that's what he's asking.
Right. BD, well, I think BD goes in two age group. I think it's 9 to 12, and I think it's 13 to 15 or 13 to 16, something like that. With the BD, Brian Broley and his crew, they're the one that runs the BD, which is, they run a series of games and tournaments for that. And then, we actually, the Hoop It Up Foundation, we actually do development. We don't do games. We develop kids. We have a kid that's developed. We send them to BD basketball. We encourage them to go play in a game, use the skills that you learn, and try to put it in a game. And that's the problem we're having. A lot of kids just want to play basketball, Paul. They don't want to learn basketball. They want to play basketball. And the parents are allowing them to do that. They're allowing them to say, Mommy, I just want to play basketball. And I'm gonna tell you a quick story. When I had books and basketball, I had a boy in my camp. His skill was not that good, and his mom came in and said, I pulling my son out this program because he ain't playing the games. I gonna put him to to play in the BD League, right? Which doesn't conflict with each other because they're playing games.
Right.
And I said, he's going to struggle if he goes in that because he cannot play in a game. He don't have the skills to, put it into a game.
Right.
I actually went to a BD game.
Right.
And the kid, he rode the bench the whole game. He didn't play at all.
Right.
And he was about to cry. And I went and I sat right next to the mom and I told her, I said, the reason why he can't play in the game is because, number one, he can't dribble the ball from point A to point B. He can't shoot. He can't lay up. So as a coach, you're thinking, what is he going to do for me?
Just bring him on to say hi to the fans.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a quick text. Another text came in. We don't want to leave our texters out because we did put that number down. This person says, I think the people in our federation had no plan for the sport. That's why the level of the sport, meaning basketball, has dropped. So thanks for sending us that text. We certainly appreciate that. Steve, what do you think of that comment?
Well, I mean,
you don't want to touch that one, huh?
It comes back to, when I make a statement, it goes a long way. That statement that I make, and I said, when you're gonna be involved in a particular something, you have to have the passion and the love, right, and the drive to want to do it. And sometimes I do question, if the federation have that passion and the drive, and just, the motivation to try to get the league on. I don't know if they have it. I honestly question that too. I do.
Okay. Quickly, Steve, with all the time, I want to get a few other quick things in. The person says it's 5 years old, too young for the BD basketball. Yes or no? 5 years. What age are you starting from?
We start from 5 years.
Start from 5. So 5 years is fine. Another text in again. The texters are coming in furiously now. Paul, I think when nominating people for president for the association, they need to come with a plan and sell on what or where they want to take the game of basketball. So they're saying that we need to be more thoughtful. What's your point on that, from what the person's saying?
My point is this: this is what I think, and this is what I think the federation is actually going to do next. Okay, I think that the federation should be a government. Okay. And then the federation should hire, an association, which is a set of people who know what they're really doing in basketball to run a league. That way the federation don't have to worry about all the obligations of being there and coming up with ideas to run the league. They will actually govern the league from a higher standpoint. Okay, we have a caller coming in. Good evening, Paul, on the ball here at the Sports Desk. Say it again, caller.
We need that basketball alone, softball too.
We absolutely agree, and obviously we didn't have enough time to address softball, but we're going to do that as well. So certainly appreciate you making that point, and you're absolutely right.
What you just say?
I said we didn't have enough time this evening to address softball, but we agree with you 100%. I just want to say one thing to the caller.
You understand what I'm saying? Just basketball alone, softball too.
One thing to the caller. I don't know if you know, but actually the books and basketball program, we have just collaborated, and now we're gonna have a books and softball program that's starting on Monday.
Softball?
Yes. So we're gonna have a books and softball, which is gonna be an academic and softball program, which is starting on Monday.
You see, if I never wake up the people and just now, they are never being called, just being a toy alone, me talking, heard me? Check my saying.
Yeah,
I
appreciate
just turn my TV and sports, and I like sports, so check what I'm saying?
Yes.
But if I never call in, then I won't be texting you and be calling you, understand what I'm saying?
That's correct.
But the people need to wake up and stop sleeping.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And the sport is for the youth them of today, you heard?
Okay, thank you very much, caller.
And have a good night, you heard?
Same to you. Steve, I don't know if we're going to bring you back on next week or what, but we are out of time.
Oh my God. The show was just getting... the show was just warming up. I mean, can the producer... Can we get 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes? I mean, we don't have nothing else to do in Tatola tonight. I mean, we can call,
I think they have other programs scheduled.
Oh, man.
So we'll do it another night. Let's just wrap it wrapping up, just tell us a bit about bvihoops.com and maybe promote that a bit.
Yeah, I just want to say, if you want to get your kids involved in basketball, bvihoopuitup.com. Or program Books and Basketball, second season is starting. I want to say this real quick. We have just collaborated with Jackie with the Matrix Academy, Charlie Jackson, your good friend, the Soccer Association, 3B's Academy, which is run by Dove and Scatliff, and now we're starting books and softball, books and baseball, books and soccer, books and cricket, and books and volleyball.
Books and cricket as well.
And they're all coming on.
I have been called.
Right, and they're coming with you and Charlie Jackson can run that together.
Okay, great.
I think y'all could make one, one good team, and y'all got the UK ties. I mean,
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
So, as Carl said, it's we'll give you that website again. It's hoopitup.com. We're going to take a quick call. We're just about out of time. Caller, we'll take a quick comment from you. Go ahead, please.
It's a flag for Baltimore.
Okay, well, I didn't get the point. But we're sorry, caller. We're actually out of time. So we want to thank all the callers that called in this evening. You've been tuned into the Sports Desk on JTV. Remember, you can review it all on JTV Live. That's jtvlive.net. Special thank you to Steve Powell this evening for being here with us. Please have a great evening and be great sports.